Former Donald Trump attorney and author of the KRAKEN lawsuit, Sidney Powell, who you'll remember was sued earlier this year by Dominion Voting Systems for over $1 billion because of her statements and lawsuits about the 2020 election. She's hired attorney Lin Wood to represent her in the defamation case. And this is really, really interesting news for a couple of reasons, which I'm going to go through. But why should you listen to me about it? Well, hey, I'm Nick Rakeda of Rakeda Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer and a legal and political commentator here on YouTube. And I've been following this case so far and will continue to follow it as it develops. If you want to follow along, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything. All right. Now let's talk about why this is interesting. First, it's interesting because Lin Wood is also on notice for a potential suit from Dominion. He received a cease and desist and preservation of evidence letter back on December 22nd, but at present, he has not been sued. But with Lin Wood as a potential litigation target, that's interesting in and of itself, but it's interesting for another reason as well. And that's because it's very possible that Lin Wood and Sidney Powell have communications going back to even before the election, potentially about Dominion Voting Systems, and almost certainly after, as Lin Wood participated in some way on those KRAKEN lawsuits. Now, all of those KRAKEN lawsuits have been withdrawn from court. They are no longer in play. They are done. Lin Wood still does have an election-related case to potentially be heard by the Supreme Court. They have a conference on February 19th where they will decide whether or not they will move on with that case or send it back down. But as of right now, that is still a potential Supreme Court case for Lin Wood. But Sidney Powell is out of the election lawsuit game at present. That being said, the reason this is interesting is because of those communications. Certainly, Dominion Voting Systems wants to have access to those communications, but it is possible that Sidney Powell and Lin Wood structured those communications in such a way as to be potentially protected by attorney-client privilege, and Dominion Voting Systems will have to overcome that privilege to get access to any of those. And if you ever know anything about lawyers and how they operate and communicate, they tend to make things, especially related to themselves, very, very difficult. So that is some of the really interesting stuff about this announcement, is that now they will have probably an extra layer to go ahead and try and pierce through before they can get access to what they might consider to be crucial communications between Lin Wood and Sidney Powell. Now, Lin isn't the only person in this case. Here, according to Sidney Powell, she says, "We are forming a team of outstanding lawyers to defend me against Dominion's frivolous suit. And Lin Wood is the expert on defamation law with a stunning record of success at trial," Powell said in an email to Bloomberg News. Now, I've got this article down here in the description if you want to read it. It's not super interesting. I've got more information than they do right here in this video, but it's there for completeness. But like I said, he is not the only lawyer. She's actually retained 3 other lawyers so far to defend her law firm, and her company Defending the Republic Incorporated. And those lawyers are Lawrence Joseph, Howard Kleinhendler, and Jesse Binnall. All of these lawyers are on the case. Lin Wood has not been noticed in the case yet. He's not actually filed for his pro hoc vice application, which brings us to the final interesting thing about this, in that Lin Wood has to be given permission to practice in Washington, D.C. He is not licensed to practice in front of that court. This is interesting because Lin Wood was recently revoked from his temporary permission to practice up in Delaware in the Carter Page case, and they're trying to remove his privilege to practice up in New York as well. So we will have to see if the D.C. court actually allows Lin Wood to practice in front of it. He has to be given permission, and that permission is not automatic. So we will see as things go on. Like I said, I'll be following along, but a lot of time has passed since the initial filing and the initial sort of media hype about Sidney Powell and Lin Wood, and a lot has been said about them in the meanwhile. So I would love to know what you guys think about Sidney Powell and Lin Wood down in the description below. I haven't seen a lot of people covering this, so please share this video around and let people know what's going on and where they can find updates on Powell and Wood as their cases progress. Thanks a bunch. We'll talk soon. Peace. Peace.